record on this computer.
So just sort of start the intro over again. Let's just start recording.
Hello, welcome to Rec Poker's Monkeys Off-Table Tools for June 2024. And our topic for today is going to be something that we encounter all the time. It's when we're facing a raise pre-flop. We're in a single raise pot. And when do we 3-bet? When do we call? When do we fold? So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And I've got a few screens from GTO Wizard pulled up here, and you can see how effective stack depth changes it and position changes it, and the position of the pre-flop raiser. So like with the screen that we're looking at right now is we're at 100 big blinds effective. We're at 100 big blinds effective. The hijack raised, open raised, and the cutoff. Now here's the cutoffs actions. So one thing about 3-betting is just for you to always remember is to think about what your bluffs are going to be. I mean, the value is easy to remember, right? Queens plus, ace, king, ace, queen suited. But the rest of these are kind of bluffy and kind of, you know, especially like this ace, queen off, ace, jack off, ace, 10 off. It's a little bit bluffy and a little bit value also. So, but like if you're for ace 2 suited, that's a bluff, right? And so what are we trying to accomplish with these bluffs? Like say we're in the cutoff facing a hijack open raise.
Let's just say not good, and you can just be winning everything, and then you think you're on top, and it's kind of the opposite effect. You get up to money out. It's a good test. And the Robinson game is there, you know, probably.
Okay. I'm hearing a voice coming in. But I can't quite make out what you're saying.
I think it was just the TV in someone's background.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, what are we trying to accomplish when we're in the cutoff facing a hijack open raise, and we're looking at 5-4 suited, and you'll note that with 5-4 suited, we're raising about 30% of the time and calling about 58% of the time. So what does this raise accomplish?
Well, I think for me, I think we have board coverage when we're called. We can also make a lot of better hands fold.
Yep.
So if we click on raise, we can see what percentage the hijack will fold there when we raise it. So we're going to make a lot of better hands fold here.
Okay. Yep. So 5-4 suited is sometimes calling, but yep, 6-5 suited is usually calling, but like 8-6 suited is folding.
Well, look, we're making them fold 44% of their range, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, and almost everything in their range that they're folding is something that has us beat or dominated.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're looking for, is mainly hands that dominate us to fold. So if we put the action back on the cutoff here, the same thing is happening with ace 2 suited. There's going to be a lot of hands that we don't dominate, but that we're better than, that'll fold. But the mileage that we get from making hands that dominate us to fold, like, you know, if he raised with ace 7 offsuit and we 3-bet with ace 2 suited, he's probably going to fold that ace 7 offsuit. That's a hand that dominates us, folds. So the benefit to that, what is the benefit to that? Why is that so important? Why is that so much a part of our expected value when we make this bluff?
What do you mean?
like say, you know, say the hijack, raised with an ace, like some kind of offsuit ace, but now he has to fold it when we 3-bet him.
Right, he's folding better aces,
yeah,
right? Sometimes.
Right. So then part of the expected value that we get from this bluff then is that if he doesn't fold, if he calls, and then an ace hits the turn, it's pretty unlikely that he has an ace, or it's more unlikely that he has an ace, because some of the ones that dominate us folded. And it's quite often we have the best hand.
Right.
So that's part of why it's so important to make hands that dominate us fold. If, you know, because we want to break even on our bluffs, or maybe finish it just a little bit in the positive territory in EV overall with our bluffs. And we capture a lot of that EV when hands that dominate us fold, and then we connect it on the turn. And the hand that dominates us is no longer in play. So that's where quite a fair percentage, a fair chunk of our EV is coming from. I mean, that's not the only reason we bluff, obviously. We also bluff because we want to establish that we want them to be indifferent to our bluffs. We need to do it enough that they're indifferent. They can't just fold every time we bet. When we pick up pocket aces, they need to call us.
I think one of the other reasons that it's a good idea to sort of 3-bet when you're deep like this and you have those sort of hands is because you don't really want to call, because now you're inviting all the players behind you to call as
Yep.
well. And
Yep.
especially true in these big WSOP tournaments that we go to.
Yes, where you
So
get
if you raise,
call.
you're likely forcing all of them out. And if you get called by the cutoff, then you're only up against, or by the hijack, you're only up against one opponent and you have position on them.
Yep.
And if you get re-raised, you can fold your bluffs and you can just either, I guess, I don't know if there's anybody 5-bets these days, but
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you know, like most people won't even 4-bet. Mostly
Yeah.
the hijack's gonna call.
Yep. Even with ace king.
Yeah, most of the time when they're
Yeah.
100 big blinds deep, I think that
Yeah.
they will just mostly be calling in the fields that we play in.
Yes. People are afraid to put all those chips in.
Yeah.
Especially when they're fighting over blinds that are so minuscule compared to their stack.
Yeah. But I
So-
really like the raising at these deep stacks, because you just don't want to take these sort of midland hands like Queen 9 suited, King 9 suited,
Yeah.
10-8 suited, multi-way,
Right.
right? You want to get heads up against the hijack if you have to play the hand. And when you are raising with those sort of middle cards, you also are going to have some board coverage for those,
Right.
if those kind of cards come out.
Yep. And that's important too. If you want to be that guy that they hate that can show up with anything, or so they, you know, put that in quotes.
Yeah.
And then the other benefit is, like with this Queen 9 suited, you're getting hands that dominate you to fold. So now if we look at still staying at 100 big blinds, if we change it from the cutoff to the button response, I got to make the cutoff fold first. We're playing a lot more of these suited connectors, suited gappers and stuff like that. A lot more of these suited broadways. And we're even bringing in quite a few of these offsuit broadways.
Is the raise percentage more or the same?
The raise is
percentage?
2.3.
No, I meant like go back to the cutoff for a minute.
It's
The
8.
percentage.
Yeah, it's about the same, 8.8%. So it's almost exactly the same amount
Yeah.
of raises from the button.
Yep. But you're bringing in a lot of
So
calls.
we're actually calling more, it looks
Yeah.
like, right?
Yep. And the reason for the big difference between the cutoff and the button is because the button will not have to face action out of position after the flop.
Right.
So it's safer to play these hands. And that's why also you're bringing in a lot more of these offsuit broadways. You can see that king 10 off in the cutoff, king 10 off is completely gone. Queen 10 off is for all intents and purposes gone. You got folds at king jack off, queen jack off, nothing at ace 9 off. As soon as you go to one more seat position, you're bringing in all these hands, and that's a lot of combos because of their offsuit. There's 12 combos for each combo offsuit, only 4 for the suited ones.
And it looks like a raise for, you
Yep.
know,
Yep.
some of the time.
So the button is in a very commanding position. They're both cutoff and button are both late position, but there's a substantial difference between the two seat positions because the button will not have to face the possibility of playing out of position post flop, whereas the cutoff does. And then when we go to the small blind, it's much more linear, isn't it? You're raising for a lot of value up here. You're raising all these 10Xs that are suited. You're hardly doing any raising with offsuit broadways at all. You're doing a little bit of calling with them, not much. Even against a hijack open raise, which is like late middle position. Why is it so much more linear here? Why is there so much more raising here? We got 9.4% raising as opposed to 14.9% calling, whereas on the button,
Because we're gonna be out of
it's
position post
yep,
flop.
yes, and it's hard to play out of position post flop, especially offsuit broadways. So we're playing a lot less of them in the small blind, but the morphology of between the small blind and the big blind is substantial because the small blind is still not closing the action. The small blind is highly incentivized to get the big blind out of here. So that's why he's doing, if he's going to continue, if he's going to defend, he's doing so much more raising percentage wise, as a percentage of the amount that he's going to defend,
Mhm.
as opposed to these in position ones.
Yeah,
He wants to clear the big blind out of here. That's his incentive, where the big blind is doing less raising. He's raising his value, and then he's got a bunch of bluffs that he's mixing in. And he's got all this calling. He's calling with every single suited hand and raising with a substantial amount of them up here. And look how little offsuit broadways and offsuit hands in general he's raising with.
right, not many.
Right, because if he gets called, now he's in a bloated pot out of position with a hand that's hard to defend out of position. So one thing that I think is interesting about this is, because you have all these bluffs that are mixed in and they're all in the suited Broadway type hands. Whereas if you say we go to 30 big blinds in the same situation, I have to make a change over here, big blind. You notice how the 3-betting has disappeared from the suited area and more of it has appeared in the offsuit broadways area here.
And this is in how many big blinds?
30. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's because when you're only at 30 big blinds, if you 3-bet, get called, now you're in an SPR less than 2, you probably only got 1 street left. So being out of position is not as bad of a situation because you'd only have to play 1 more street probably. If you connect with your top pair with one of these, you're probably just going to roll with it.
Right.
So it's a lot easier to play and hence we see more. And notice how as we go from ace 10 off down to ace 9, ace 8, and ace 7 off, how the lower ones are actually getting 3-bet more often.
And the lowest ones are jams.
Yeah, the very lowest ones are jams. So why is this? Why this emphasis on the lower suit offsuit broadways with the lower kickers? Why do the lower kickers get more aggression?
Well, I'm not sure about those middle ones, like 7, 8, and 9, but the lower ones will make the ace 5, ace 6, ace 7, ace 8,
Yep.
ace 9 offsuits fold.
Yep.
They'll make those fold. I'm not 100% sure why we're raising the,
It's
or it's
for the
just
same reason. We're making better aces fold.
are we though?
Yeah,
Like-
if he's got ace 8 or ace 9 offsuit and we 3-bet, he's probably going to be hard pressed to call with that ace 8 and ace 9. You know, if we were if the open raise were from an earlier position, I suspect these would go higher because there's higher aces that you have to make fold. You're not going to make ace
Yeah.
king fold or ace queen. What you're interested in is making an ace that with a kicker just above or 2 above your kicker fold.
Right.
And that's the reason for doing this. And you're seeing more kickers that'll fold with ace 7 off than with ace 9 off. And that's why we're 3-betting more often. One thing that I was just pondering lately, and I would like to get all your thoughts on it, is you see how these are all mixed strategies that are mostly calling, but once in a while 3-betting. How do we cannot as humans memorize these percentages. We can only understand the principles behind it. How can we bring this to life in a safe way?
You can consolidate. For example, you would always 3-bet ace 7 offsuit and then always call ace 9, ace 8 offsuit.
Mm-hmm. What happens if you never pick up ace 7 offsuit?
Well, I mean,
3-betting.
you're supposedly you'll have an equal percentage of times
Yeah,
picking those up in your lifetime, right?
yeah, in your lifetime. But
Yeah. So, but if
in
you
your
look
tournament.
at it, right, it would all the times of 3-betting, all those 3 is equal to roughly 100. It's almost 100%.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll be back. I gotta go put my dog's thunder shirt on.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's what happens with like ace 5 suited as a 3-bet. If you look at the charts, it's really across ace 5, ace 4, ace 3 suited. But
Yeah.
to simplify, you can just say always 3-bet ace 5 suited and then flat with the others, as opposed to mixing, ace 3, ace 2, ace 3.
You could do that, but my concern is that you're basically depending on a random device, which is the hands that you're dealt, to determine your frequency.
Right. That's great because
it might be
because
skewed.
it takes away the human emotion.
Yeah.
That's better that you're right. I mean,
Mm.
otherwise you're using some randomization to get to 33% 3-bet versus call. I mean, so
Yeah. Right. And it's hard as a human to randomize when you're going to build biases into it.
Right, exactly. So if you just build into it, the randomization, when I get ace 7 offsuit, I'm 3-betting it, but then to balance it, I have to take away ace 9 and ace 8 offsuit as those 3-bets.
And if you're up against regulars that you're going to play thousands of hands against, I can see where this would work. But if you're in one session in a visit to Vegas or one tournament, I mean, you could be dealt ace 7 offsuit 3 times and start looking like a maniac.
Right. Well,
or you could never be dealt it and look
right.
like
I mean, and the theories is at equilibrium with the solver playing itself over billions of hands. So that's
So I don't
we'll
know.
never reach this. We'll never reach this. But
what do you think of this idea? If you get dealt any of these 3, the first time you get dealt any of these 3, just go ahead and 3-bet it, and then don't do it for the next 5 times for any of them. Wouldn't that be a better way to?
No, then you're not randomizing.
Right. But over the course of all those hands, nobody's going to pick up on that, especially in a tournament where people are coming and going.
Right, but as you say, how many times are you gonna get dealt it? So if you only get A7 one time, then you're overdoing it.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know of a
Uh,
real good way to execute a strategy like this. I
Right,
saw a video
we
recently
can't.
where,
I mean,
yeah,
yeah. But it's not just us, it's everybody, right?
Yeah.
It's any human
Yeah.
being.
yeah. I saw a video recently that said that in live game, I think it was Solve for Why had it. In live games, doing this isn't even important. They're not going to know
Right.
because they don't, because other human players, especially in live games, don't have the clairvoyance. And even if you're playing a regular playing regulars, they're not going to have that clairvoyance because you're never going to play enough hands to get the clairvoyance that solvers have. So rather than rack your brain and use brain cells trying to execute a strategy like this, just set it aside altogether. Maybe do it if you pick up a tell that the guy doesn't want you to raise him. Something like that. I mean, that's food for thought too. This is different than if you're in a live game because of the clairvoyance. I mean, I don't know what you could call it. You could almost call it the distortion caused by clairvoyance. I mean, the supercomputer has to they have to do this because their opponent's a supercomputer that does know their strategy.
Right. By definition, right, that is what the Nash equilibrium is.
Yep.
Both opponents know each other's
Right.
strategy.
Right. But humans wouldn't actually have to do this. I mean, I suppose once in a great while you'd want to do it just to maintain balance in your play. An argument can be made for the fact that if you just call all of these,
Well,
you're not 3-betting enough.
well, the theory is if you were to implement the strategy perfectly, you would exploit every other strategy that didn't employ this strategy, right?
Yep. Yeah.
But if you knew how somebody is deviating from it, then you're better off taking that into account and
Yeah.
then altering your strategy.
Yeah.
So
Exactly what Eric just said. It really has more to do with what your opponent is raising with, and then what his reaction is to the 3-bet.
Yeah.
So, like you were saying, this is a supercomputer playing against another supercomputer, and they know each other's strategy entirely. The first step in deciding which hands you're going to do this with is understanding what your opponent is, what his range looks like.
Yep.
And then once you know what his range looks like, because it's not going to look the same as the range on GTO Wizard, right?
Right.
This is based on that range in GTO Wizard. So you figure out what your opponent's range typically would be. And then you need to understand what his response would be to that 3-bet. And then
Yep.
you can determine how often you need to 3-bet to get him to fold those hands.
Yep. If he's opening quite a bit from the hijack, and then you 3-bet him, he'll fold and say something like your queens are good.
Yep.
Now, another interesting thing on this 30 big blind strategy is look at all of the jams at 30 big blinds that we're doing with these pairs, with these pocket pairs. 4s, 3s half the time, 6s almost half the time, 7s, 8s, 9s, 10s.
I would just change that to be like 3s all the time, and 4s and 5s and 6s. Like I wouldn't be mixing here at
Yeah.
all. I would just say, you've got these pairs, whatever your lowest one you want to do it with, just do it with all of them up to 10s or
Yep.
jacks.
Yep. Forget about the 5s. You can't memorize that. Forget about these
Yeah.
percentages. You can't memorize that.
Yeah.
If you don't like 3s, if you think that your opponents are call a little bit too loose, don't do the 3s. Because he might be calling you with 4s or something. And then ace queen, ace king. It kind of makes sense because you're out of position and you want to see all 5 cards now. Same thing with these pairs. You want to see all 5 cards now. It's going to be tough to play these out of position.
I think the pairs are more that we're taking position out of the equation.
Yep.
So when we're called, we usually have good equity because we're often against 2 over cards.
Yep.
And most of the time, we're gonna just take it down with our shove pre-flop.
Yep. Yeah, these are hands that like to see all 5 cards. And that's why we're doing it this way. And same thing with these offsuit aces up here.
Sorry, but I don't agree with that. I think ace king and ace queen, yes, for sure, we want to see all 5 cards. I think with the pairs, we're trying to mostly get folds pre-flop,
Yep.
but when we do get called, we're often against 2 over cards and we
Yep.
have good equity.
And it's the same thing with the ace king and ace queen. We'd like to get the folds too.
Yeah, if you click the button all in for the big blind and then look at what the hijack's response is, you'll see that he's folding a ton of shit that you're way ahead of.
Yep.
He's folding 3s, 4s, and 5s, so you might want to consider that. But if you look at like 6-5, 7-6, 8-6, 8-7, all of those, all that blue is stuff that he raised with.
Yep.
And now you 3-bet him, he's folding all of that stuff.
Yep.
And the only thing you're really worried about are the pocket pairs. Because most of the pocket pairs he's calling are better than the ones you're raising with.
Yes. But most of the combos that he's calling with are not pocket pairs.
Right.
And if you have a pocket pair, you're slightly ahead. But it would, like, if you've got pocket 3s, it would be so hard for you to just play 3 streets. He's going to bluff you off of it at some point.
Right. So that's why you should, to me, that the pocket 3s are either all in or fold.
Yep.
Because you can't, you can't set mine at 30 big blinds.
No. Yep. And this business of calling half the time with them, not sure I understand that, because it seems like you just jam with it. And with deuces, you're always calling. I guess with these 3s and deuces, you're just planning to fold instead of investing any more money if you don't hit your set line.
Well, yeah,
Don't
From
forget,
the-
we're getting a pretty good price, so we shouldn't be folding much.
that's what I was about to say. You can see
Yep.
all of his calling range. We're
Yeah.
just talking now about his all-in range.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the calling range doesn't change because it still has all of that suited stuff.
Yeah.
But when we get to that point where we're making that play that we're going to go all in, that's when we're going to get him to fold a lot. We're seeing a lot of flops just by calling, just because we like Kim said, we got a good price.
Yep. And we might pick up a nice hand, 3-2
And if we
suited,
don't,
we
we
might pick up
fold.
3-2.
Right. And if we don't, we fold. We haven't lost
Yeah.
much.
Yep. So that's one thing I wanted to look at, was how stack depth affects it. So like we're here at 100. It's all of our 3-bet bluffs are in the suited area. At 50, we're starting to move into the offsuit broadways more. We still got a lot
This
of
is
the
cut
suited
off. You're
stuff.
looking at cut off though in this one, not big
Yes.
blind.
Yep.
We were just
And,
looking at big blind in the other one.
Okay, let's look at it. At 50. We're still calling all of the suited hands. We've still got a fair number of suited hands that we're raising with. But we've got an increased number of offsuit broadways that we're raising with as well. 50 is kind of like we're in the transition between deep and shallow stacks here, which is why we're seeing a mix of both suited broadways and offsuit broadways. Get down to 30 and the 3-bets go away entirely in the suited. Just out of a curiosity, I was just fumbling around with this today. I wanted to see what was going on at 40. And look what we have at 40, and this is not something for us to memorize, but when we're defending in the big blind at 40 against only a hijack open, no other seat position open, we are raising 14, almost half of the effective stack, 4.1% of the time, almost as often as we're raising 9.3. So
Can you make us raise 14 here? And then make the hijack go all in and see what our call off range is
okay, let's do that.
of that 14.
Raise 14. And there's his all in range.
Right, so put them all in and see what we have to call off with.
We're calling off with
So-
most of it.
So we're calling off with all of our pairs,
Yeah.
really, all of the pairs.
Yeah. Yeah, just these little slivers that do not even
Our offsuits,
get here
yeah.
very often are what we're folding. But that's only at, it's interesting that this 3-bet of nearly half the effective stack, or a third of, I should say a third of the effective stack, is only coming against the hijack. It's not there against the low jack. It's not there against the cutoff. And I could tell you just from what I saw researching this today, that it's not there in any other stack depth, not even 35. It's
You
just
mean
that
from the
one.
big blind? Do you mean from
Yes.
the big blind?
Yeah, only in the big blind do you see this. Oops. Only in the big blind do you see this raise of 14.
Right.
I just thought that was interesting. It's nothing that we should try to memorize, but
Yeah, actually,
kind of interesting.
it's interesting you say that because hijack, something about the hijack makes it a little interesting because
Yeah,
my cash charts have it flatting with kings against a big blind 3-bet. No other position ever flats kings versus a 3-bet, but
Let's
somehow
not try to
hijack
memorize that.
versus big blind does. It's just one of those weird things that you're like,
Yeah.
what's so special about this
Yeah.
situation? Somehow hijack does have weird things.
maybe what we can learn as humans is that there is gray areas in poker. And at the hijack is where we find them.
Maybe.
But I don't know. I'm not going to try and memorize this. I'm just going to do something similar to this, just with a regular 3-bet sizing. Because I'm just, if you try to execute this as a human, you're going to make mistakes, and they look pretty expensive. So
I don't mind the bigger 3-bet from the big blind with ace king and ace queen offsuit. Like,
yeah,
it's similar to why we jam it at 30.
yeah, because we want folds, and we're not going to mind it so much if we get a call, especially from something that we dominate.
Yeah.
It's just
Do
funny
we
that
want
this is the
folds
only
with ace
situation.
king, ace queen off? We're not really doing that to get folds, are we?
Well,
No, we're
from against,
inducing probably.
yeah, against
Yeah.
against lower pairs like deuces or threes. We don't want any pair to call us
Why not?
because we're behind a pair a little bit, not too much.
No, we're flipping with a pair.
Pretty much. I think it's like 52-48 or something narrow like that in favor of the pair. It's close.
So let's put that raise of 14 in there on the big blind.
Okay.
And then what is a hijack doing?
Folding
That's what we just looked
these
at.
lower pairs.
Yeah, so is
Calling
that
with
what we're
most-
trying to do?
Well, we're
Or are
going
we
to take
trying
down
to induce him to go all in with hands that we're ahead of?
like this ace queens, king jack, king queen.
If
Probably a
if he
little bit
goes
of
all
both.
in with queens and you call, how happy are you?
I'm
If you
happy
go-
about ace king.
Yeah. If I have ace king and I'm pretty happy.
If he's got
Yeah.
queens,
Are
Yeah.
we-
yeah,
are
you're
we
flipping.
indifferent? I think we're indifferent.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. That's
Yeah,
why
but-
I'm saying
And,
we're indifferent
and-
to
I
queens,
don't think we're
jacks,
happy, but
tens.
we aren't sad. We're just
Right.
indifferent.
Right,
Yeah.
we're indifferent,
Yeah.
but we're
And-
happy that it wasn't kings or aces that he called.
Oh
so-
yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
That is
And we look
that
down, we
is
say,
true.
okay, it's good, it's queens.
Not only that, but with the dead money that was already in the pot, the percentage difference between the ace king and the queen has been nullified and it's been made a profitable situation. So, that was just I thought I would just share this little bit of weird stuff with you because it's kind of interesting and generates some discussion. So let's see, what did we talk about? We talked about at lower effective stack depths, at higher effective stack depths like this, most of our 3-bet bluffs are suited broadways. At lower depths, we're at 50, we're starting to move into the offsuit broadways. At 30, we're starting to get some jams, but all of our 3-bets are now in the offsuit broadways. And then at 25, we're not 3-betting. So, anybody want to do some drilling? I got a trainer set up here.
Sure.
All right. This is set
Sure,
up.
let's do some drilling.
Yeah. This is set up so that we're responding to open raises with, I think I set it up so that the lowest effective stack depth is going to be 30 big blinds. And the starting spot is pre-flop and we're against an open. So if we start, all right, we're looking at a low jack open and we're in the button with king 5 offsuit.
I think you can raise sometimes, but I fold.
They were
Fold.
full.
Yeah. I'd be tempted
you
to
go.
raise it sometimes with the king 5 suited.
Maybe you raise it sometimes from the big blind.
Yeah.
Fold.
Fold. Yeah.
Well, I'm just spouting it off. Everybody else should be able
Yeah.
to respond also.
If I don't pipe up, it means I agree.
Okay. Yeah, all of you that are here are welcome to pipe in. Okay, what's this one, folks? We're at 50
I'd
big
fold.
effective.
A
Yep,
fold for
folding.
me.
okay, I
And
mean, we're hardly ever
Fold.
playing that.
Fold.
Is there a way to
These are easy.
cut out
These are
the
all
obvious?
easy.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. Here we go.
We can do that.
What is this?
Is this
30?
We're at 30 big blind effective. We're looking at an under the gun open. 30 big blind effective. We're in the low jack. Is this a jam or a raise or a call?
It's a
It's
jam.
probably a mix of raise and all in.
I think it's a raise.
I'm jamming.
I'm probably raising.
Okay,
Hey,
I'm
the
gonna
I'm
majority
raising.
said raise.
raise.
Majority said raise. The
Let's
majority
raise.
did. I said jam though.
All right, it's just gonna think about it.
And we called it, yeah. Oh, no. Oh,
Well, and we flop top. So he checked. Is this a small bet or a big bet or something medium?
Small bet.
or Small
Small
bet?
bet.
Okay,
Floated
Yeah,
pot,
maybe-
small bet.
3.8.
3.8. I like
3.8.
3.8.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a 3-bet pot, we want to go about a quarter or so. And he raised us.
Jam it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yep, we're taking it to the mat. I mean, we got top with 30 big effective. We're going with it, right?
I mean, you can call in position, but yeah. I don't know.
Take a look at where did we get double check marks and everything? You think
Yes,
so
pre-flop
small?
and flop are both double check marks.
Yeah.
And it was a score of
Right, right.
100%, 65% raise and 34% call.
On the flop?
Yeah.
So it's never a jam on the flop.
Nope. All in is a error. Not a
Yeah.
blunder. Fold is a blunder. All right. Next hand.
What if you're on the bubble of the main event?
Oh, that's completely different.
Well, that's ICM, so
Yep.
this is chip, right? Chip BB, right?
Yeah, should be.
Yep. That's what did Dara call that in his end game book? He called it, or was it the satellite book? One of the two. He called it the trickle down pokernomics or something like that, right? Everything you do is scaled down. So big bets scaled down to small bets scaled down to a call, stuff like that
Yeah,
in a strong ICM situation. So that one would probably have been,
maybe this
mean,
is a fold. This is
yeah,
a
this is a
fold.
fold for sure.
Yeah, well, if we're 10-5 offsuit, then definitely you're three.
Yeah, then we're raising because
Yep,
we have
yep. Isn't that
flush
right?
draws
Isn't that
and
right, Dave?
two straight draws.
Two straight
Absolutely.
draws. Two straight draws.
Yeah.
Two straight draws and two flush
Blocking all the straights, half the
Yep.
flushes.
I like it.
fold.
Okay,
Fold.
fold. Yeah.
You fold.
So far, we're batting 1,000 here, folks. Okay, here's one that's a little interesting. We're at 30 big blinds. So that means
Queen
that
10
our
fold.
three betting our three
That's a
bet
fold.
bluffs are in
Fold.
the
That's a
this one's
fold.
a fold, but our three bet
Or-
bluffs are in the offsuit Broadway area, not the suited Broadway area. But yeah, this is a fold. But something to think about.
Fold.
Yeah, that uncontroversial fold there. Listen, I think we should go all in with this.
This is an all-in spot. Are
Yeah,
we playing the 7-2 game?
yeah. Okay, all right, we're at 60 bigs, under the gun raise, we're under the gun one with ace 10.
I think it's a fold.
I
It's
think it's a
probably a
fold.
fold.
Yeah, because did he even raise with ace jack? Sometimes, right?
Yeah,
If-
yeah. They definitely raised the ace jack at 30.
Yeah.
What are we
And
at?
he'll fold
How many big blinds are we at?
60.
60?
60.
Yeah, yeah, they're definitely raising with ace jack. I think down to ace 10.
Yeah. Is ace jack gonna fold if we three bet?
Not suited.
Not suited, no. But 3 times as many are offsuit.
Yeah, but it's more than just ace jack in his range.
Yep. What we're looking to do though, when with a lot of these three bet bluffs like this one would be to get hands that dominate us to fold.
Yeah.
Just click on the hat in the top right corner and just see what our range for three betting is.
Ace jack, because it's gonna might get ace queen to fold.
So see, ace 10 is doable for ace jack is doable for a three bet. See?
Yep.
And
Might
ace
get ace
10's
queen
a fold.
offsuit to fold.
Ace 10's a fold.
Yep. Because we're down too low below the ones that are gonna hands that dominate us to fold. Now here,
3-bet. Yep, that's the classic one. Come on.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
the nuts, isn't it?
Old
Isn't
school
it the
poker.
nuts three betting?
Old school poker says this is even a cold 4-bet. What is solver based poker calling this a cold 4-bet? I mean, we're not in a 4-bet spot here, but just a
I don't know. It's the low jack.
rhetorical question.
Ace
Okay.
five's the new ace king. It was.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this could be a 3-bet here. But we're at the 40 big
Yes.
blinds, so
I think so.
And we're just discouraging people behind to call, right?
Mhm.
When
Yeah.
we three bet, but
And we have
Fine.
the ace blocker.
yep, suited, we can make a wheel. Oh, well, he jammed on us. I guess we know where we're going with this.
Well, I would fold.
Because
Yeah.
that ace 5 was a bluff. and our bluff just got
Yeah,
looked up.
I thought the bluffs were like more like ace deuce, ace three, ace four, but okay,
Yeah,
let's look.
yeah, it's more complex. Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
wrong move, right?
Yeah, they probably just wanted to call.
They happen to
Just
have
wanted to
kings.
call.
Yeah,
It sometimes fold, usually call.
So that
Cool.
ace five, probably if you're in the small blind or big blind, that would be a good three bet. But not so much in the low jack.
Let's have a look. Okay, we're in the low jack and there the three bets.
Oh yeah, it's a
Notice
call.
how none of
Okay.
them, notice how none of the lower suited aces, notice how none of the suited wheels are called
so
or raises.
just like go to button and see what their raises are there.
Ace five suited,
Yeah.
Yeah, see?
and it's
Oh,
jamming.
no, I mean when we fold, when we
Oh,
fold
when
the low,
the low jack
Yeah.
folds, okay,
yeah. What's the buttons range?
It's
calling.
calling. How
Yeah.
about small
Almost
blind?
calling.
Calling.
A
How about
little,
big blind?
Liver.
just a little sliver of raise.
How
Yeah.
about big
Now,
blind?
how about the big blind? Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
no,
So clear calls. So,
Yeah,
it's because
We're-
it's an under the gun race.
oh yeah.
That's why.
yeah. So in solver land, these suited wheel aces are not treated like the nuts like old school poker treated them.
They are if it's a late position race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you fold the under the gun and then
And make
raise
the
the
cutoff
button,
race or button or cutoff, yeah.
and now let's look at the big blind.
Well, the small blind's jamming it. The small
Hmm.
blind was jamming it.
Yeah.
But
once in a
open the
while.
cutoff, just open cutoff and then look at button. And they're still not raising.
Yeah.
Just for the smaller ones, okay?
Yeah, those
So has
suited
this been a
wheels are not,
myth the whole time?
it could be.
No, there's certain stack depths where
Yeah.
you
Yeah, I'm
use it
sure.
more.
I'm sure.
Yeah, let's take a look at 100. We're raising
Yeah,
quite
we're
often
raising.
at 100.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
It's still there. Just got to know where to use it.
So this is a hand that we're going to want to play for 3 streets, and that's probably why we're doing it at 100 and not at 40. Because we're trying to make the nut flush.
We're trying to make them fold.
Yeah, we're trying to make them fold, but we're also trying to make the nut flush if they call.
Yeah.
Saw a royal flush today. That was exciting.
Somebody had a question?
No,
Nope.
I played live poker today and somebody actually got a royal flush.
Oh,
That's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
were you in? Were
And then,
you in the hand?
And
Were
then,
you-
and then people were like to the opponent, "Did you have queens?" Because there was 2 queens on it. You know, everybody's hoping for a bad beat. It was like, nah, I just had
Yeah.
a first
Did
flush.
Anybody see Negrano yesterday?
No.
He was
What happened?
I
playing PLO.
watched his vlog.
Yeah, he was playing PLO. And he flopped quad
yeah, I saw that.
queens. And it went
No, he
runner,
flopped
runner, and gave
chips.
him a straight flush over the top of his queen. So he got both hands. He improved. He
Does that
Yeah.
qualify for the bad
quad
beat
queens
jackpot?
and improved.
He was playing PLO.
Oh
Right.
yeah.
So he had 4 cards. So he hit top set and then he turned quads and then he rivered straight flush.
I'm checking the fine print on the bad beat jackpot for that one.
Yeah.
It was a tournament, WSOP tournament,
I
so no
know.
bad beat.
Yeah. It was fun.
Yeah. I had
Watch his video log. It's really good.
on the first or
Fun.
second hand of the 1100 WSOP circuit at Hammond for me this spring on my in the 1100. I had a full house get run out by a straight flush, and I had to go rebuy like on the second hand.
Ugh.
That's poker, right?
You know, and people say that online poker is rigged. And they've never played live poker to see how badly you get
Oh.
beat in live poker every day.
Yep. Yeah, I just rather than rebuy, I almost went to the tavern. So, but I did rebuy and then they got taken out of the tournament by Angela Jordison. All
I think we
right,
have time for a couple more.
yeah, it's going on 9, right? So,
Or 7
or 7 or 10, depending on where
or
you're
10,
I agree with
depending where
Rob.
you're at. And if Ben was here, it would be 11.
at. Yep.
Okay, here we go. Jam. Can we jam this one?
How many big ones?
I know it's 35, not 30. We were jamming it at 30.
Mhm.
I
I didn't,
don't
we
know.
didn't study
I
the
might raise
35.
to induce. I'm not sure. I don't think either one is a total mistake. A total mistake would be to
Raise,
fold or call. So I think you can go either way with this one. Raise or go all in.
take a
Yeah, I
consensus.
think it's a
If you raise and he
one
shoves,
flip like that too. I would even wonder about at 40. So, but
I don't
what's the
think it's a
consensus
raise.
here?
I don't
Up
like,
for a vote.
why do,
Raise or go
I
all
hate the
in?
I hate the raise out of position. I'd
yeah,
go
because
all
Might
in.
if he
as well go all in.
shoves,
You might as well go all in.
you have to call, so you may as well go in.
Looks
Uh-oh, I
like the
think I,
consensus says all in. You can't hear us. Go all in. Just click the all in button.
So I always think, if I raise and he shoves, am I gonna call off? So,
Yeah, you hate calling off with ace queen offsuit, so
like, why not
I
just
just like prefer to shove it myself.
put the pressure on him
Yeah,
or her?
and take position out of the equation.
Right.
Because he can just flat and play in position if you just raise. Right?
It's a lot of bigs though, but
Well, if you jam, you're folding out everything that you're ahead of.
can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
I can't see the table though.
Whereas if
Yeah,
you
you
just
know.
raise,
We were saying, I was in favor of jamming. So was Stuart, so was Eric. Rob was wanted to just raise,
I want to
but
just
the three of
raise.
us wanted to jam.
Okay. Rob, I
think
think
it-
you're outvoted.
That's fine. That's fine. Let's see what happens.
You get a real double up.
The jam was the best
Let's
move.
move. Yeah.
100%.
And we lost.
That's being results oriented.
It's very mixed. It's 39%, 39% jam, 32% raise, 8.3,
That's close. See,
29%.
it's
So
real close.
press play from here and then just raise it. Let's play it again.
Okay.
Well, it's easy to play. We know he has nines.
No, he doesn't have nines
He's
this
gonna have
time.
something different this time. Now what do
Now
we
we're
do?
calling
He
off.
jams.
This is what Rob wanted us to call off, right, Rob?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he's going to have hands that
He had a stronger hand this time.
Yeah, 32%, well, for raise 8.3.
It's really a mix between call, raise, and all in. Like really, you're not really making a mistake. What's the equity on there? The EV is like
128 is
exactly
all
the
the same.
same for everything.
So
So
only fold. Only fold is like
Yeah, fold's a
Wrong.
blunder. Fold is the red triangle with the computer middle finger in the middle of it.
so I just think it's harder to play when you don't do the all in. When you
Yep.
just call or when you just raise, it can be a lot harder to play, especially if they just call your raise and it comes,
Yep. Yeah,
well,
because
think
now you've
about
got
solver.
Broadway out of position.
Solvers aren't afraid to play. They aren't afraid, right? They don't think about what's harder to play. They just play
Well, I do.
it.
Okay, one more, Pete?
One more. This one doesn't count. Okay,
Why
All
not?
right, because we're folding.
Yes, we got it run right. Oh, we could have ended on,
Oh.
Just
oh,
keep folding
yeah,
until we
let's
get to a
just,
hand.
well, let's end on a good note. Come on.
Okay, what about this one?
It's a
50 big
fold.
blinds.
That's a fold.
That's a
I
fold
fold
because
it.
we're dominated by too many hands.
Fold.
Fold.
Or at
See
least
how much
on
you
our
have to
street.
fold in the turn?
Now here's
Okay,
one
here we
that's
go.
interesting. Against humans,
yeah.
I like the 3-bet here.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3-bet's good.
You're out of position, so you want to just call.
He's got a very wide range. He's gonna have to call off a lot of stuff that's not great.
See how hard it is to play in position, out of
No.
position?
Yep,
Well, you just bet. You just see
yep,
bet.
we didn't connect and now we don't know
Yeah,
what to
but
do.
we see bet.
5.4.
No, we see bet,
bet.
but we see
Yeah.
bet on this kind of board.
Really small.
We go
Yeah.
small, right?
Yeah.
5.4. Yeah.
2
Yeah.
point, no.
On a 3-bet, on a 3-bet hand will generally go small, but there are some where you go a little bigger. But
I
this
go
is
even
definitely
smaller
not
than
one of
that,
them.
but-
Well, when you're out of position, you definitely go smaller than you
Yeah.
would if you're in position.
So I
10
was watching
10.8.
I was watching a video that Dara just put out for playing live at the WSOP, and he was saying like you can just get away with like 20% C bets and stuff in these
Yep.
3-bet pots. Like just people are pretty inelastic to their bet sizing.
Because
I was gonna
that
say 10.8 wasn't bet approved.
that 20% C bet is already looking kind of big because they're looking at the absolute number of chips.
Yeah.
I think we fold.
I think we need to fold here.
I think we fold.
Yep.
I would. And it's shown the bluff.
No.
Nope.
It doesn't like the
Oh,
flop bet.
He picked up queens on the button, so what are you gonna do, right?
What do they want us to do on the flop?
Fold.
Check.
Check.
Heck.
Check. Yeah.
You're out of position.
Out of position. You often check when you're out of position.
Exactly.
You don't always see bet.
Yeah,
Go
and
to your
that's
poker
Play from
tracker.
here. He
and
won't have
check
queens
your-
this time. Let's play from here and check.
okay.
We're gonna check this time.
Well, we have to fold.
No, I think you have to
No?
call
What-
one.
are
You
we
have to call
calling?
all your aces for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like if you don't call your aces, then like you're not having enough of a minimum defense frequency against this sizing.
Yeah,
All right.
So it's because we also have a backdoor straight draw.
yeah, and now we could be dominated.
Woo, woo. Are you kidding? Woo, woo.
I would check. I'm
Yeah, check,
fist
right?
pumping right now.
I mean, what? I mean, what? I think better
And that's
call.
another one where he bet a quarter of the pot.
Yeah,
Which is call, right?
Yeah,
Or he probably shuts down.
I
no,
was
he's
thinking we
gonna
should go
barrel
all in
again
back
because
there.
he's gonna barrel all his bluffs. So we have to check, call again.
Yeah.
Or
Check.
we
Let
could
him
block.
bluff into
We
us.
could
We have to
block,
call
but-
whatever he does.
We could block.
look at that.
No, I think the turn is where we were supposed to bet, or were we
I
supposed to
think we should have
raise?
jammed the turn.
We were supposed to raise.
They wanted us to raise.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yep. Looks like
Yeah.
They're
raise.
gonna think we have a flush draw. I don't know.
yeah, I was supposed to raise there. Interesting.
Oh, we won the hand.
That's good. You know, we won the hand, but we didn't win enough chips. That's good, Keith. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Keith.
Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop the share. Put this
Stop the
back
recording.
here.